Fascinating. Whenever I make a video about white privilege, I always lose 10 or 20 or 30 followers, and I don't give a damn. If protesting every 3 months is the only thing that you're willing to do, that is privilege. Because right now, people are being racially profiled. Almost 200 people who don't look like me have been arrested accidentally. We got helicopters coming down on Chicago buildings, zip-tied, grabbing people while they're naked, throwing them in U-Haul trucks. People are being deported from their families to places they're not from. But somehow, me saying that protesting every 4 months on a Saturday is just a bridge too far, and you thought I was on your side. Whose side did I ever say I was on? I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm on the side of giving a damn about people. And the reality is that white people are the damn problem in this country. Jim Crow, slavery, lynchings, using babies as alligator bait, Middle Passage, Trail of Tears, Wounded Knee, Asian internment camps. The vast majority of gun violence are angry, toxic masculinity white men with emotional insecurities. January 6th, white men. The Orange Pig in the White House, a white man. Ahmaud Arbery, 3 white men. George Floyd, white men. You see a trend? Again and again and again. And see, if more people that looked like me during the civil rights movement would have gotten off their butts and been uncomfortable instead of saying it's their problem, versus saying it's an American problem, we would have actually progressed as a society, but we didn't. We suppressed racism. And then this country went back to the plantation owner. That's why we're here. But somehow me talking about having white privilege because you're only willing to protest every 3 months is somehow a bridge too far. Why don't you go talk to black people, Latinos, Asians, our Afghan brothers and sisters, Indians. Ask them if what I'm saying is factually true. A true leader is not a searcher of consensus, they're a molder of consensus. And I've been guilty of this myself. Too many of us go around and just hear things that make us feel good. And I get it. We only have so much free time. But the reality is, politicians don't give a damn about us. They tell us what they want to hear. They take our $5 and $10 and $20. They go into office and then they're MIA. They don't respond to us. They don't call us back. They don't return emails. They rarely do town halls. They're searchers of consensus. They're trying to find people that agree with them. What if Martin Luther King didn't give a speech? What if Rosa Parks didn't help with the Underground Railroad? What if Kaepernick didn't take a knee? What if John Lewis didn't cross the bridge? They were willing to be uncomfortable. And the problem is that there's not enough people that are willing to be uncomfortable in this country that look like me. It's the only demographic that didn't vote for Vice President Harris as a majority. White people. Zohran Mamdani, white people. I'm not going to apologize that it makes you uncomfortable. I know what I look like. Peter Parker's uncle said it best. With great power comes great responsibility. Sure, I could not make this video. I'll probably lose 50 followers, 100 followers. I don't care. But you know what? You're either an ally or you're a fair-weathered friend. There's too many people that say they're an ally, and the moment the water gets a little rough, the moment that the turbulence in the airplane's a little too much, they jump ship and they go back to something else just to make money off of videos. That's not why I started this. That's not why I started making TikTok videos a couple years ago. I did it because I know what the problem is. It is white supremacy. And this country would rather vote for the most morally bankrupt, sexual abusing white man who has 3 failed marriages, who caused an insurrection over the most great black woman candidate. They would rather suffer under the rule of a white man than thrive under a black woman. That's just a fact. She wasn't perfect, but she sure in the hell wasn't whatever this guy is. And until we grasp that as a society, This is not about the price of eggs or gas. This guy literally sat there while officers were beaten for 3 hours. And you think people went to the polls and said, well, as long as I get cheap gas? It was never about cheap gas. It was about not voting for the black woman. And that's what I'm going to keep talking about, even if one person watches my video, because I'm not a searcher of consensus. And I would hope that we strive to have people that we watch, whether it's on social media, politicians, teachers, leaders, that tell us what we need to hear, not what we want to hear. I didn't always do this. Colin Kaepernick changed my whole course on things. I didn't want to hear that. But I listened and I said, you know what? I got to be better. It's not enough for me just to sit down and be quiet. That's privilege. And I would be doing myself a disservice, because this is who I am. If the bare minimum we're willing to do is protest on a Saturday outside of working hours every 4 months, that is the bare ass minimum. Then we're complicit, just like the 3 officers that stood by while the officer murdered George Floyd. And if me calling that out makes you leave my page, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. But don't act like I'm the one that's the problem here, because what I am is a reflection on where we are as a country. And a lot of us just don't like the reflection looking back at us. And you know what? Sometimes change is hard. I've changed my stance on abortion. I've changed my stance on different social issues, because I listened to people that had a different point of view. I didn't run away. And I would challenge all of us, including myself, to look at it that way going forward. Have a good day.